immunity and their immune system that I think it was like the need of the hour. So, shall we just get to our topic and discussion?
Sure.
All right. So, hi
So,
everyone. I can see so many people watching us on Instagram also, and Facebook. We'll see. So, Angie, yeah, you were about to say something.
um, yeah, immune system, especially with winter. I mean, I have seen people, especially parents with young kids, elderly, quite concerned about the immunity with change of weather, the dilemma of should we take flu vaccinations and how to boost your immune system to basically have a healthy, functioning winter and not
True,
feel
true.
debilitated by pathogens. So we'll dive in today and we explore on different topics on immune system and how we can support our immune system.
Absolutely. And yes, as you have rightly said, that winter is something where everybody falls sick, and because of that, this becomes you'll be having this almost in everyday conversation. Your immunity is so low, do something about it. It's all there. However, I
Oh,
want to ask you one part of
one
immunity,
minute,
which
if
is,
you don't mind,
yeah, yeah.
can I ask you, is our Zoom working? I see it frozen. Do you
No,
see it on your
no.
end?
Yes, it is recording and it is live on Facebook as well. It is showing.
Perfect. Okay,
Great.
so let's
Yeah.
go. Mhm.
Okay. So, Angie, since immune system, immunity, it is such a diverse thing actually. I want to talk about autoimmune conditions right now to start with, because
Mhm.
this is something which is nowadays we can hear it a lot. And I want to know from you, like, why do autoimmune conditions seem to be so much on a rise these days?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. In past, most of our health issues were all about infections, colds, flus, hepatitis, and various different inflammatory markers and infections, for which we have come up with vaccination, lots of antibiotics, flu shots, and all. And with overdoing, with a lot of sort of preventive uh, mechanisms for clearing the pathogens, we have tipped our immune system into inflammatory mode. Now, interestingly, our immune system is a double way sword. It has got two functions. First one is to attack the pathogen, and the second one is to tolerate our environment. With our psychology, Western medicine, vaccinations, and so much focus on constantly preventing pathogens, sanitizing, keeping our environment clean, taking lots of antibiotics for every cold and flu, and vaccinations, we have sort of tipped our immune system where it has become overzealous. It has lost its peacekeeping function, and it starts seeing environment as a threat. It starts seeing its own human cells and the billions of microbiome that thrive within the body mind as a threat, and it gets into an autoimmune condition. So it's like, that huge imbalance that's going on. And the key factor there, again, is stress. So one is the chemical stress that we put through all the medications and vaccinations and so on. And then it's emotional stress. Once you're in emotional stress, your amygdala complex, which is the center of the brain, which is all about survival mode, it's constantly seeing the environment as a threat. And it's producing high cortisol levels, and it's tipping the immune system to see everything as a threat, and it start attacking stuff. And this would contribute to autoimmune conditions where the immune system's subtle senses of discerning whether these cells I need to tolerate and support versus I need to sort of attack, that becomes distorted. So the key factors behind that would be toxins, vaccinations, medications, and emotional stress.
You're right. In fact, I mean, since I'm been a science student, so when I used to study about autoimmune system, I mean, autoimmune diseases, I would really think about this thing, that how something which the nature has created for our security, like what goes inside our body that it becomes something which starts going against us. And now that you have talked and shared this thing, that yeah, if it's like, that this constant thing that our body is experiencing, our mind is experiencing as stress, is what is making our because that time, as a kid, I would say in college, it was tough for me to wrap my head around this concept, that okay, how does it happen? Is this some genetic change which is happening? Or because I, of course, had I been into medical, I would have studied it in deep. But yes, now that you are telling me, now I can understand, okay, this is how, why, autoimmune diseases happen. And furthermore, I want to ask you here that now, like you have told, because so many things like vaccinations and antibiotics, they are what are triggering our immune system to go actually work against the body. So if we talk about body talk, so what makes body talk effective for immune issues where our conventional treatments often fall short?
Oh, that's an amazing question. And I mean, that's why I love Body Talk and I'm so passionate about it. And I feel so excited talking about it. Now, Western medicine is amazing. It is lifesaver. So if you've got an accident, you've got an acute condition, you have to go through a surgery, Western medicine would save your life. So with acute conditions, it works miraculous. But many times for chronic conditions, it doesn't have much of solutions. So I've worked with people with, let's say, Epstein-Barr viruses or herpes reoccurring infections or urinary tract infections or even autoimmune conditions. Now, the medical way is taking antibiotics, antiviral medication, which temporarily suppresses or kills the bacteria or pathogen, but it doesn't fully clear the issue. And therefore, many a times it is reoccurrent. So you get the same lingering cold and cough every now and then, or herpes virus that gets triggered every time you're stressed, or Epstein-Barr virus that is sitting in the body. So with Western medicines, many times antibiotics don't do a complete job. Secondly, with viruses and all, it's mostly anti-inflammatories and painkillers. That is the only solution that Western medicine offers for managing the symptoms as well as with autoimmune conditions. So few stories that come to my mind. One of my client, somebody reached me from US and she was referred by someone. Her, she was getting this autoimmune condition, eye infection. So she was wearing hard lenses. And one morning she got up and tried to remove those hard lenses that you sleep with, and she was in agony. She couldn't open her eyes. She was in excruciating pain, uh, and she had to completely black out. She couldn't handle a slightest light. She went to every possible check. Western medicine tried every possible anti-inflammatory um, treatment and steroids and so on, and couldn't find a solution. And she got a body talk session, and it literally took two body talk sessions, and she was back to normal. Her eyes, she could handle light, she could go out and live a normal life. So, Western medicine, many a times, is focusing on suppressing the immune system by giving it steroids, as well as by giving antibiotics and all, which sometimes is not a complete answer. Now, with body talk treatments, you can do amazing work with supporting the immune system. So it's about looking at why behind the story, why the immune system is under functioning, why it's unable to identify the pathogen or it's overreacting to a certain toxin or a pathogen. And that why is crucial. And that why could be many times emotional, psychological, stresses, toxicity, the imprints from my environment. And once you sort of address this underlying puzzle in the story, that could be sort of imprinting that immune system into that condition. And just by giving it right environment, your immune system would be able to handle it. So health and healing is not something that we put in the body. It's a natural phenomena. It's the homeostasis, which is the state of balance. And it is our innate wisdom, our natural inborn ability to heal. So with body talk treatments, it's all about demystifying the story. Why this natural healing ability is compromised? What's behind the story? What are those stressors? and helping the body to release those stresses so it can heal and repair itself. Another case study that comes to my mind was this young man. He was around in his 40s. He came to me with Epstein-Barr virus, and he was on painkillers and anti-inflammatories, and it was for 6 months that was going on. He was not seeing any improvement, and his immune system was so impacted by this virus that he had no energy and vitality. He had to stop playing all the sports. He could barely get out of his bed and go to work. And medically speaking, all support he had was painkillers and anti-inflammatories. And with BodyTalk treatments, we were able to demystify the story, what was sort of compromising that immune system into this autoimmune condition and suppressed sort of level of immunity. And there was a lot of underlying stress in the work environment and underlying belief systems that were constantly keeping the mind into that fight, flight, survival mode. And once we were able to demystify all that underlying causative factors, he recovered and he went for his blood test. His virus was completely dormant, it wasn't active at all, and he was back to his life. So, sadly enough, with Western medicine, many a times there are very limiting options. And there's so many side effects. Oh my God, being taking a course of antibiotics or um, any invasive treatment has got so many debilitating functions because once you're taking antibiotics, it most of the time antibiotics are given wide spectrum, which means it will kill that particular bacteria, but everything else. Now, our body is made up of microbiome, which is billions of viruses, bacteria, parasites, and these are friendly communities that thrive on our body and they give us perfect environment for hosting various different functions. So a course of antibiotics could sort of debilitate this whole ecosystem of our gut microbiome, which works intertwined with our immune system. Once your gut microbiome is deforested, then the immune system is compromised because one of the function of of these gut microbiome is to train the immune system into producing anti-inflammatory hormones. So body mind is interconnected, and it's all about listening to that interconnection and seeing the bigger picture. And that's where body talk treatments would come in, addressing and supporting and neutralizing those belief systems, those traumas and stressors that could be sort of cluttering that vision, and immune system has got into that autoimmune condition and start attacking its own cells. And it's said once these autoimmune conditions set in, like let's say multiple sclerosis, um, uh, inflammatory conditions such as arthritis, the treatments are sort of more like a lifetime treatment where medication, somebody has to be on medication for a long time. And it does have sort of quite a bit of side effects, which could be quite difficult for many people, especially for kids or elderly whose immune system is not strong to be able to handle it.
I really found this line that you used while you were answering this question, Angie, so powerful when you said that healing and health is not something that happens externally. It comes from within. And so true that somehow Western medicines have always focused only on, like as we say, putting the problem under the rug. So you're only working on the symptoms, you have mitigated it, that's okay. But then, as you said, the why actually is it happening? So because even I feel the autoimmune condition that I have of kind of, you can call it psoriasis, but it's confined one. So I do feel that the stress triggers it. Now I have so many ointments, and because I am into googling and also I read the major component is steroids, and that is just like one, like a temporary thing which is there. I have to go deep down and understand exactly what is triggering it, and so true that body talk is one such therapy which helps to go there and completely make it more like a sustainable situation and solution for all the people. And we talked about autoimmune issues here, Angie. I would also like to know, because we started with the point of winters, so
Mhm.
how can body talk even support people, especially, I mean, if we talk about kids also who suffer from allergies, colds, And of course, I mean, 30s, I feel gut health goes and it takes a toll. So even digestive issues, if you can talk about.
Sure. Yeah, it's interesting that in our society we see such a common sort of overload of food sensitivities, allergies, intolerances. You literally see every other person who has got some sort of food intolerances. Our lifestyle is a big contributor. We eat so much of packaged processed food loaded with chemicals. Our plants and animals are constantly being pumped with antibiotics and sort of a lot of chemicals. So our body is going through a lot of overload of chemicals just with normal eating and the pollution and so on. Again, the good news is our body is resilient. It knows how to handle stress to a certain level. Now, when we talk about allergies and intolerances, there could be various different conditions. With kids, many a times it could be the vaccinations, because when the vaccinations are introduced, which is very common in many countries at a very early stage, the immune
True.
system is not developed enough to train it, and that may trigger allergies and intolerances. So it could be the vaccinations and the collective impact. So in past, the vaccinations that we used to receive versus in modern society, oh my God, we are just bombarded with lots of vaccinations, which are just labeled as compulsory. So there is an overload on immune system. And then allergies and intolerances are quite emotional and psychological. So let's say I'll share with you a story. There's this Mr. John. He has eaten fish and chips all his life. And he is 34 years old now. He became a father and he's suddenly allergic to fish and chips. Now, something that the body was tolerating and being perfectly fine, the body has started rejecting it. And when we do the BodyTalk treatment, what shows up as a story behind it is as a child, this Mr. John was going through basically having those fish and chips every Friday dinner with the family. And that was the day where dad would be drunk and there would be a lot of family fights. And that sort of information was stored in the amygdala complex. So anything that is a threat to you, whether it's a life, food poisoning, a particular accident, emotional trauma that's going on in your environment, the function of amygdala complex, which is the centers of the brain, is to keep us alive. And for that purpose, we produce fear. And therefore, we don't, let's say, walk through the red light because it's fear of survival. Now, these centers of the brain, they record the whole story about that threat. So each and every information, whether it's a particular smell, taste, sound, and it's recorded in the subconscious mind that if any of these components go on, which means life could be in danger and it triggers that survival mode. Now, this Mr. John became 34 years old, he became father, and that whole sort of trigger of the emotional trauma that he went through when he was in his childhood around storage of that memory of fish and chips got triggered, and he would flare up with these major rashes and hives and so on. And taking antihistamines and medications would temporarily suppress it. But we had to work on demystifying the story, that emotional trauma that was stuck into the subconscious mind by unhooking those emotional charges and sort of synthesizing and releasing it. And once you neutralize it, the whole trigger was gone. He was back to normal. So, allergies and intolerances, there are emotional traumas, there are belief systems, there are epigenetic markers. So a lot of different stuff goes into contribution to intolerances. Now, allergies is the instant reaction to something. You have dairy, wheat, gluten, peanuts, and you instantly get all the symptoms. Whereas intolerances is latent and a slower version of symptoms. So somebody could be having orange juice every morning and they've got arthritic pain and they've got migraine. So there's no correlationship between the symptoms and that particular substance, and therefore they are hard to identify. Again, very common in our society nowadays. And with BodyTalk treatments, you're able to demystify the story and help the body to heal and support the immune system. So it's not seeing the environment as a threat, whether it's pollen, dust, or anything in the environment where it's constantly triggering that stress response.
In the moment, like you have told the story of Mr. John, and it has hit me suddenly. I am realizing that for me also it happened that I love eating dry fruits, nuts, cashew, and everything are my favorite. And suddenly, one fine day, it happened that when I ate nuts, I started getting a severe stomach ache. And now it happens that every time I eat nuts, I have this. So now, when you've told me, now I have to go retrospect a little bit and see what is the story behind it. And it's not because we thought it is some evil eye that has happened on us because of which is it happening, but the why will be clearer now. I'll retrospect and I'll share with you some other time. And diving deeper into this, as you're talking about, the gut part and the digestive issues, what role does gut-brain connection play? Because this is such a commonly used word these days, and in your content also, you talk so much about it. So, what is this like, role of gut-brain connection for the immune health, and how does Body Talk address it?
Yeah, it's interesting. Gut health is the latest new sort of trend that has been there since, I would say, last decade. And it has come from this latest research where they're able to see the live microbiome. So till now, we used to look at viruses, bacteria, parasite as a threat, and it was all about killing it. With this new human genome microbiome project, it's seen that our body has got billions of microbiome, literally to the ratio of 1 to 10. So one human being, a human cell to 10 microbiome, which is viruses, bacteria, and parasites. So we have got this community of microbiome specifically throughout the body and specifically the gut. Now, this community is there for a reason. It keeps us alive, it helps our digestion, it optimizes our immune system, it's hugely related to mental health. So there's a huge relationship between gut health and immune system. So when your gut health is out of balance, which means these billions of microbiome, they are either underfunctioning or certain species are missing, then it triggers the immune system into the inflammatory mode. So it tips the peacekeeping arm of the immune system. So immune system and gut health goes hand by hand. Many a times, people who would have autoimmune conditions would always have gut issues, irritable bowel syndrome, um, bloating, indigestion, toxicity, food sensitivities. So, what can we do to address our gut health? Firstly, the good news is that these microbiome, their life is extremely short, which means our body is constantly building billions of them, literally every few minutes. So you can tip the whole ecosystem of microbiome by healthy eating, by eating lots of greens, fibers, taking prebiotics, fermented food. So one thing is our lifestyle and cutting down packaged and processed food. I mean, you'll be just shocked that if you just take a pack of chips or literally anything that is even a package of bread and look at all the E words and chemicals that go in there. So our environment is loaded with a lot of processed food, and therefore it becomes our responsibility to be more aware of what we put in and eat, and at least giving our body a healthy chance to eat, to survive. So diet is one aspect. Stress is another one. Now our health. So it's interesting when we talk about immune system is hugely impacted by gut health, and gut health is hugely impacted by stress. So when you're stressed, it's all about you're pressing the accelerator of your car, you're burning out all the fuel. The brain is thinking, I need to survive this moment. It's all about like seeing a tiger, if you think about the caveman's time. And it's all about surviving this moment, and any long-term projects are put on the back burner. And these long-term projects could be digestion. So once you're under stress, your body triggers that sympathetic nervous system, which is fight, flight, survival mode. And the digestion is just not a priority. So in that case, you'll develop food intolerances, food allergies, and the gut microbiome and digestion is completely impaired. And once that is impaired, then your immune system is thrown out of balance. So stress and gut is goes hand in hand. So a better advice would be when you're under heightened stress, don't eat because you'll be doing more harm by eating in that stressful environment. Your body will simply not produce enzymes to digest it, and it will disrupt your ecosystem. So stress behind immune system, stress behind gut health, and this all is intertwined because our body is like an interconnected web of communication. Nothing functions in isolation. Each and every cell and atom in the body is in constant communication with everything else. And when these communication networks are compromised, then it contributes to all these symptoms. So, Body Talk is not about symptom care. It's not about diagnosis. It's not about addressing those symptoms, but it's all about listening to your unique story as to what is behind those symptoms that is contributing to stress and how to repair and restore those communication networks.
So truly you said about this part that, while you are in stress, don't eat. But we see a lot of people actually doing stress eating only, right? So that when the emotions are heightened, people are doing emotional eating and out of stress. I mean, we all do that. That is the point we will open a chips packet and we'll start pogging on it. And instead, like now, if we see if we are able to be mindful in such a situation, it is going to be good for our gut health. And you did share a few advice, Angie, but I would like to know from you what are some simple steps that viewers can take today to strengthen their immunity in their daily routine?
So we spoke about stress being a big part of it. There's a technique called Courtesies, which is brain balancing technique. You'll find it on my website. We can put in a link here. As well as there's another technique of body talk, which is for stress release. So once you do these two techniques, which literally takes a few minutes, a few seconds every day, you will be able to balance and rewire your nervous system out of that fight, flight, survival mode into the relaxation mode. You will be optimizing your stress thresholds so you can handle stress. So once you have addressed that causative factor, which is stress, it will be supportive of your gut microbiome. It will support your immune system. Other practical tips would be your diet, nutrition, supplementation, eating healthy. Sleep is a big one. We ignore sleep so much. Oh my God, especially younger generation. I mean,
True.
it's so common to sleep at 2, 3 o'clock, and then you make up on sleep on the next day. But our body has got a circadian rhythm. It has got this 12 hours of meridian clock. So when you're sleeping late, so your liver meridian is on the peak between 1 to 3 a.m. at nighttime, and your gallbladder is between 11 to 1. Now, if you're not in deep sleep, or if you've had a late night dinner, so your body is still in digesting mode, and it can't basically get into the detoxification mode, which is the key function of liver, then naturally you are just dampening all your energy and you're more prone to infections and preventing your body to heal. So sleep itself is crucial, sleeping on time, sleeping early. So between that 1 to 3, you are in deep, good quality of sleep because your liver literally expands 3 times of its size and it's like a recycling plant. It detoxes. And that function could be hugely compromised if you're having late dinners and sleeping, where your digestive system is still active and you can't get into the detoxification mode, as well as it could be when you're sleeping late. So, simple lifestyle tips about getting your rhythm of life right, specifically good quality of sleep, sleeping in time, being barefoot to get your electromagnetic frequencies, because we are constantly bombarded by so much of EMF around us. So, that earthing and grounding is again a simple but an essential tip that will support your immune system. And eating healthy and doing these simple techniques to manage your stress. And body talk treatments are just amazing. So this month our theme is immune system. I offer monthly free group sessions, and you can basically register on my website and receive these monthly sessions. And this month's theme is immune system. Now, distance sessions and group sessions work very powerful because we are all energetically connected. It's all about quantum entanglement. And I would say, yeah, it will be a beautiful gift that you can sit back in your house and receive this holistic treatment for neutralizing all those stresses and optimizing your health. So those are the few tips on simple lifestyle and managing your stress levels, whether it's through your meditation, grounding, writing your journaling. Yeah, uh, dealing with your relationships, being able to sort out what is blocking it. So yeah, taking care of your mental health, emotional health, is simple ways of your overall taking care of your immunity.
Yeah, a lot of people because do not realize that the emotional trauma and the mental health is also somehow connected to your gut and your own health as well.
It is
We have given
hugely
such,
connected.
yeah,
Yeah.
true.
There was this experiment where they took 20 people and they did sort of stress test on them and marked which people were highly stressed versus low stress levels. Then they took a cold virus and they swapped all these people's nose with the cold virus. And the people who came down with the infection were all the category of high stress levels. Whereas the people who marked low stress levels, they didn't get the infection. So our immune system is constantly getting in contact with the pathogens, viruses, bacteria, and um, sort of parasites and so on. And our mental health dictates how resilient our immune system is in tackling these pathogens or how quickly you come down with cold and flu. So mental health behind immune system, oh my God, it's just
Yeah.
intertwined. You can't separate the two.
Yeah, in fact, this recalled me of one of the sessions which I was taking of on emotional fitness, and we were just talking about how your emotions get, stored up in your body, and that outcomes into some kind of ailment. That time, one of the participants had this light bulb moment where she said, "Oh my God, now I'm able to realize, Uzma, why is I'm having these gut issues? Because I do realize that yes, there is some emotional trauma which has somehow been, stored there." You gave so many good tips, Angie. However, if because see, still people come up with excuses, especially people who are parents, who are juggling and working professionals. Is there some advice you can give them that within that busy schedule of theirs, they can do certain things which can, small steps even can compound into making them have a better health?
Um, for parents, I would say it's very easy to constantly focus and do so much. Parents, especially with young kids, I would say their state of mind, their stress levels would have a direct impact on child. So taking care of yourself would be crucial. If you're concerned about your children's immunity, cutting down on sugar, uh, finding out with body talk sessions if it is allergies, intolerances, dairy, wheat, gluten, addressing that. And for parents, a very powerful tool is a body talk access seminar, which is literally taught in 5 hours, but you learn these profound techniques to optimize the immune system. And I would say, oh my God, one of the best gifts that parents could have to look after their family health, where you see these children's sick leaves and the colds and flus, and 60 to 80% of the immune issues completely subside by investing literally 10 minutes a day in doing these simple techniques. So, learning body talk exercise to look after your kids on your immune system, if you have got any chronic condition, or even if you have elderly, the caretakers could learn and use these techniques on themselves. Whereas we spoke about the two techniques, which you were going to put the link for stress management, and overall just looking after your mental health, taking
Yeah.
some good vitamins and supplements, and taking care of your nutrition.
Yes, vitamin C, really important. And we're almost at the end of our talk, Angie, and I feel you have shared so many profound pointers, for like understanding the why, which is also important because unless you know the why, you're not even motivated enough to work towards something. And apart from that, all the tips that you have given are really important, which I am sure and I hope the people who are watching us should start focusing and start following that, because I don't think taking out 10 minutes of your life for your own health or for your loved one's health, I don't think it's too much. Like any busy person should be able to take out that. And just finding out, I want to know how can people who are watching us live, who are following your content, take their first step towards improving their immune health with Body Talk.
So I offer 20 minutes free consultation. If you're new to Body Talk, so sign up for that and get a glimpse of what these treatments are. Learn Body Talk exercise, use it for your family, get these two simple techniques on videos and do that, as well as Body Talk fundamentals if you are inclined to sort of learn holistic healthcare to support your family and being able to do treatments for them, or even to take it as a profession. And even better, if you are a professional in any field, you can still learn BodyTalk Fundamentals Workshop, which trains you to become a practitioner and integrate it and just magnify your results with your clients. So at whatever level, and those free sessions, oh my God, they're bonus. I would say when you're receiving those free sessions, do a little bit of sort of an intake where before getting the treatment, just sort of scan yourself mentally, emotionally, how you're doing. Are there any aches and pains? Is there any cold and flu? And keep a record. And then listen to those treatments and then reevaluate in a week's time and see what is shifted. So yeah, there are lots of tools where you can help yourself. So surely reach out, as well as we're offering some discount, 10% discount to the watchers for trying out Body Talk sessions.
And are we having some seminars or intro talks in the near future, Angie?
Yes. So start your day, start your new year with optimizing your health. Learn simple Body Talk seminar, which is called Body Talk Access for your personal health, as well as fundamentals if you want to learn and use these treatments for your family or become a professional. So there are pre-introductory talks coming up in December and the seminars coming up in January. So feel
Wow,
free to sign up.
that's lovely. So the holiday season is starting with so many gifts.
Yes.
So amazing, Angie. I think this half an hour which we had a talk, it must be an eye opener for so many people. And I hope it motivates people to consciously start working on their health and start seeing health more of like just popping pills, but actually getting that, healing from inside. It's all within, and working on enhancing that innate wisdom of the body and mind.
Yeah,
So
I see it
thank you.
as a privilege.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I'm saying I see it as a privilege, really, when I see people struggling with all these immune conditions, cancers, and a lot of inflammation and autoimmune conditions, and supporting them through this journey. And more importantly, okay, you're looking for immune health, but besides addressing the immunity, it is the whole journey of consciousness. It's about your clearing those emotional baggages and stresses and traumas, so you're more vibrant in all aspects of your life. So health is not just missing where the disease is missing. Health is the perfect synchronity of body, mind, and spirit, where you are totally in that space of equilibrium with your relationship, with your finances, with your work, and dealing with your environment. So addressing that whole bigger picture.
Superb, superb. So this should be the New Year's resolution. Work on your health and do it in a way that it is sustainable. Thank you so much, Angie. Thank you so much, all the guys who have been
Getting with
watching
you.
us. Bye
Thank you,
bye.
guys. Bye.
You have stopped the live, Angie?
Hi. Are you on Zoom?
Yeah, I am on Zoom. I'm saying, have you
Oh,
stopped?
okay. I'll just check. Okay.
I think we should stop this meeting then.